The blessings of protecting our planet. Visual hook. A once pristine river, its sparkling waters now choked with plastic waste, floating bottles, and scattered trash. Have you ever stopped for a moment and wondered, can small, seemingly insignificant actions really change the world? Can the simple act of picking up a piece of trash, or nurturing a single tree, ripple outward to create something bigger than ourselves? It might sound like a small gesture, almost too small to matter. But in truth, every action we take toward caring for the earth is a seed of blessing, a seed of transformation. Imagine this. A young person walks along a beach, their eyes catching the glimmer of sunlight on hundreds of plastic fragments strewn across the sand. It would be so easy to just look away, to tell themselves, what difference can I make? Yet, something inside moves them to bend down and start picking up the trash, one piece at a time. At first, it feels like an endless task. But then, something magical happens. People passing by begin to notice. Some stop to watch. A few even join in, inspired by this quiet, humble dedication. By the end of the day, what started as one person's small effort has grown into a collective movement, a ripple of care stretching far beyond that beach. In Buddhism, this simple act is more than just environmental stewardship. It is a profound expression of compassion not only for other human beings but for all living beings, and even for the planet itself. Our actions toward nature are intimately connected to our inner state. When we treat the world with kindness and respect, our hearts soften, our minds become clearer, and we cultivate a sense of interconnection with all life. Every tree we protect, every river we keep clean, every creature we honor, reflects back as blessings in our own lives. Think about it for a moment. When you walk through a forest or sit by a clean river, don't you feel a sense of peace, a quiet joy that is hard to describe? That feeling is not accidental. Nature has a way of reflecting the care and attention we give. By protecting it, we nourish not only the earth but also our own spirit. It is a cycle of giving and receiving, of blessing and being blessed. You might ask, but my actions are so small, how can they matter? The truth is, the impact of one small act is never limited to itself. In Buddhism, this is called the law of karma. Every intentional action, no matter how minor, creates energy that moves through the world. Pick up a bottle. Plant a tree. Reduce your waste. Inspire someone else. Each act multiplies, connecting with countless others in ways we may never see. One seed can grow into a forest. One gesture of care can spark a wave of consciousness. And there's something profoundly human about this. By caring for the environment, we are learning to care for ourselves. We are reminding ourselves that we are part of a larger story, a story that includes rivers, trees, animals, and the air we breathe. When we take responsibility for our surroundings, we are also taking responsibility for our own happiness and peace. We are planting seeds that will bear fruit not just in nature, but in the quality of our own hearts. So today, look around. Where can you plant a seed of blessing? Is it a river that needs you to pick up a stray piece of trash? Is it a neglected park where you could plant a small tree? Is it a community project that protects wildlife or cleans a local pond? These may seem like small actions, but they are moments of mindfulness, compassion, and awareness in action. And every moment counts. Even if no one else notices, even if the world seems too vast, even if the problems feel too big, start anyway. Your intention matters. Your effort matters. Your care matters. And you never know how your small gesture might inspire another, creating a chain reaction of goodness, of blessing, of harmony. Let this be a gentle reminder. The earth is not separate from us. Every act of protection, every moment of mindful care, is a reflection of the love and compassion we are capable of. Today, take a moment to ask yourself, what is one small act I can do to plant a seed of blessing in the world? Because every small action matters, every gesture counts, and every effort brings us closer to a life that is in harmony with the planet, with all beings, and with our own hearts. Visual close. The same river, now cleaner, sunlight dancing on clearer waters, and a few people working together to remove trash, smiles exchanged, a sense of shared purpose palpable. Narration close. Observe the world around you today. Ask yourself, where can I sow a seed of blessing? The answer may surprise you, and the ripple may reach farther than you ever imagined. Awareness of nature's importance. Visual hook. A peaceful riverside village at dawn, the soft light reflecting on calm waters, with villagers beginning to plant young trees along the riverbank. Have you ever noticed how nature quietly shapes the rhythm of our lives? It doesn't shout or demand attention, yet it is the invisible hand guiding our well-being. And sometimes, it takes a single conscious act to awaken this awareness. In a small village by a winding river, the villagers noticed something alarming. Each rainy season, the waters would swell, flooding their homes and eroding the soil. Life, as they knew it, was at risk. Rather than waiting for disaster, they made a collective decision: plant trees along the riverbanks. At first, it seemed like a modest effort. Small saplings, careful watering, a few hours each week. But these trees did more than just line the river. Over time, their roots stabilized the soil, slowing the floodwaters and protecting the village. And beyond the practical benefits, something else miraculous happened. Birds began nesting in the new branches, bees and butterflies returned to pollinate the flowers, and the entire riverside seemed to hum with life once more. This story is more than a tale of environmental protection. It is a vivid reminder that every effort we make to care for nature has a ripple effect. In Buddhism, we are reminded that every good action plants seeds of positive results. Protecting the environment is, in essence, protecting life itself. Each tree planted, each river kept clean, is a testament to the fact that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of all living things. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever walked through a green forest or along a sparkling river and felt your heart lift, your mind calm, your spirit lighter? That feeling is not just in your imagination. It is the natural response of your mind and body connecting with life. Nature offers us balance, peace, and perspective. When we nurture it, we are nurturing ourselves. And the more we give, the more blessings we receive, in ways both subtle and profound. This principle of cause and effect, karma, is at the heart of Buddhist teachings. When we act with care, our actions generate positive energy that flows back to us. The villagers didn't plant trees expecting fame or reward. They planted because they recognized the intrinsic value of life, the delicate balance of water, soil, plants, and creatures that sustain them. And in return, the village not only became safer and more resilient, but their hearts were also filled with a deep sense of purpose, joy, and interconnectedness. Imagine if each of us took a small corner of the world and treated it with the same dedication. A small garden in your backyard, a neglected patch in your neighborhood, even caring for a single potted plant on your balcony. Each act is a gesture of mindfulness, compassion, and responsibility. Over time, these small acts accumulate, weaving a network of blessings that reaches far beyond what we can see. One person's care can inspire another, creating a chain reaction that benefits both nature and the human spirit. And here's the beautiful part. This awareness of nature's importance changes how we live. It encourages us to consume less, to respect ecosystems, to tread lightly, and to see every living being as part of a shared story. Protecting a river or planting a tree is not just an environmental act. It is a spiritual practice. It trains patience, gratitude, and mindfulness. It reminds us that life is fragile and precious, and that every small act of care contributes to a larger harmony. Ask yourself, what small patch of earth can you care for today? What action can you take to honor the natural world and, in doing so, honor your own life? Perhaps it is planting a tree, cleaning a stream, supporting local wildlife, or even advocating for policies that protect our forests and rivers. Each choice, no matter how small, carries weight. Each act of care sends ripples into the world, creating a legacy of harmony, safety, and blessing. The villager's story teaches us that protection of nature is protection of life. And the rewards are not only practical, they are spiritual. As the trees grow, so do our hearts. As the river flows, so does compassion, patience, and awareness. We are reminded that every conscious action toward the environment is also an action toward our own inner growth. So today, take a moment to observe the world around you. Notice a neglected space, a dying plant, a polluted stream. Ask yourself, how can I make a difference here? Even the smallest effort matters, because it plants seeds of blessing not only for the earth but for every being who calls it home. And who knows? The care you give may inspire someone else, creating a ripple that spreads far beyond what you can imagine. Visual close. The riverbank now lined with vibrant green trees, birds singing, children playing among the new growth, villagers smiling as they work together, a sense of community and harmony shining through. Narration close. Remember, each tree you plant, each stream you protect, each creature you honor, is a seed of blessing. Start small, act with intention, and watch as your care grows into a legacy that touches the world. The natural world is waiting for your kindness. Where will you sow your first seed today? Small actions, big impact. Visual hook. A sunny afternoon in a city park, children playing, but scattered litter glints in the grass and sunlight. Narration. Sometimes, the smallest actions have the power to create ripples far beyond what we can see. Imagine this: a young child, barely old enough to tie their shoelaces properly, walks through the park with a small plastic bag in hand. They notice candy wrappers, empty bottles, and bits of paper strewn across the grass. Instead of ignoring them or waiting for someone else to act, the child begins picking up each piece of trash, carefully placing it in the bag. At first, no one pays much attention. To most, it's just a child tidying up after others. But then, something remarkable begins to happen. Teachers and classmates, inspired by the child's dedication, start joining in. One by one, the act of a single child transforms into a collective effort. By the end of the day, the park is cleaner, and the children feel a sense of accomplishment, pride, and connection, not just to each other, but to the world around them. This story carries a profound lesson. In Buddhism, we learn that no act of kindness is too small when it is born from compassion. Every intention matters. Every choice to care, no matter how modest, plants seeds of goodness that grow in ways we often cannot predict. The child didn't set out to inspire an entire class, nor did they seek recognition. They simply acted with a pure heart. And yet, the effect was immense. Think about your own life for a moment. How often do we underestimate the power of small, consistent actions? We wait for the perfect moment to make a difference or assume that our contribution is too tiny to matter. But change is rarely born from grand gestures alone. It emerges from countless small acts, performed with attention, care, and perseverance. Just as the child's single effort cleaned a park and inspired peers, your small, mindful actions can ripple outward in unexpected ways. Consider your surroundings right now. Is there a neglected corner of your neighborhood, a community garden, or even a simple habit you could improve, like reducing waste, conserving water, or planting a small tree? Each choice, however small, is a chance to sow blessings. And when performed consistently, these actions compound, creating meaningful change both in your life and in the lives of others. The beauty of small actions lies not only in the visible results but also in how they shape our inner world. Each time we choose to act with compassion, we are training our hearts, reinforcing patience, empathy, and mindfulness. Every discarded bottle picked up, every seed planted, every moment of care, teaches us that our actions are intertwined with the world around us. We are part of a larger web of life, and our choices contribute to its health and harmony. This story also challenges a subtle but powerful mindset many of us carry, the belief that we must do something big to matter. In truth, the world is built on countless small acts, often unseen and unrecognized. The child's action reminds us that the essence of impact is not in scale but in intention. When our deeds flow from genuine compassion, they carry a force far greater than their outward size. The universe responds not only to our actions but to the sincerity with which we act. And there's another layer here. Inspiration is contagious. One humble act of kindness can awaken awareness in others. Just like the child in the park, your actions can spark a chain reaction. A neighbor sees you recycling and begins to do the same. A friend notices you volunteering for a community cleanup and decides to join. The ripple extends, often far beyond what you imagine, spreading consciousness, care, and blessing. So, take a moment today to ask yourself, where can I begin? What small act of care, compassion, or protection can I offer to the world around me? Perhaps it's picking up litter on your street, planting flowers for pollinators, or simply teaching a child the value of caring for the earth. Even the tiniest gesture, performed with consistency and heart, has the power to grow into something larger, something meaningful, something transformative. The lesson is clear. Greatness often begins quietly, in the simplest, most ordinary actions. The child in the park reminds us that the doorway to profound change is always open. We just have to step through it with attention and care. Every piece of trash picked up, every tree planted, every act of mindfulness toward the earth is a seed. And over time, these seeds grow into forests, into cleaner rivers, into communities connected by shared respect and compassion. So, start small. Begin where you are. Observe the world around you and identify one tiny act you can perform today to contribute to life, to kindness, and to the health of the planet. Trust that your effort matters, that your intention carries weight, and that blessings, both for yourself and the world, will unfold in ways you may never fully see. Visual close. The park transformed, children laughing, green grass restored, clear pathways, and birds returning to the trees. The child sits on a bench, smiling, eyes shining with the quiet joy of having made a difference. Narration close. Remember, no act is too small when born from a compassionate heart. Every gesture, no matter how humble, has the power to inspire, to heal, and to create blessings that ripple through the world. Where will you start today? What small action will you take to plant your own seed of goodness and watch it grow? Patience and perseverance. Visual hook. Early morning sunlight filters through young saplings in a small, newly planted forest. A group of volunteers kneels in the soil, planting, watering, and tending the trees. Narration. Have you ever witnessed the quiet power of patience? There's something deeply humbling about planting a tree, knowing that you may never sit in its shade or see its branches full grown. And yet, it is in these very acts, so seemingly small, so gradual, that the most lasting blessings take root. Take, for instance, a group of volunteers who decided to plant a forest on the edge of a village. In the beginning, many people doubted them. Why waste your time on such a small patch of land? Some asked. The trees will take decades to grow, and the impact will barely be noticed. But the volunteers persisted. Day after day, season after season, they planted seedlings, watered them, protected them from storms, and returned year after year to tend the growing forest. At first, the forest was barely noticeable, just a few young saplings struggling against the wind and sun. Some people continued to doubt, and challenges arose: droughts, pests, and even occasional discouragement within the group. But the volunteers kept going, guided by patience and an unwavering commitment to their intention, to create a space of life, refuge, and harmony. Over time, something extraordinary happened. The small forest began to flourish. Birds returned to build nests, insects and pollinators thrived, and the trees formed a green canopy that offered shade, comfort, and beauty to the villagers. What was once a patch of uncertain potential became a sanctuary for both humans and wildlife. Children played under the shade, elders rested on benches, and the community gathered there for quiet reflection. The volunteers' persistence had transformed not just the landscape, but the hearts of everyone who encountered it. This story is a profound reminder that patience and perseverance are at the heart of any compassionate action. In Buddhism, it is taught that enduring effort, grounded in kindness and wisdom, naturally brings about blessings. When we do not give up, when we continue to act even in the face of doubt or difficulty, the fruits of our efforts eventually emerge. The forest did not grow overnight, but every hour of care contributed to its resilience and vitality. Every act of tending the soil, protecting the young trees, and showing up consistently was a seed of blessing waiting to manifest. Think about your own life for a moment. How often do we abandon meaningful actions because we cannot see immediate results? Whether it's cultivating kindness, nurturing relationships, or caring for the environment, true change often requires time. Patience allows us to move steadily forward, even when the world seems indifferent. Perseverance ensures that our small efforts, repeated and sustained, grow into something far greater than we could have imagined. And here's an insight that often goes unnoticed. Patience is not passive. It is an active state of engagement, a willingness to continue giving and caring even when outcomes are uncertain. The volunteers didn't sit back and hope the forest would grow on its own. They acted, day after day, season after season. Their patience was paired with consistent action, and that combination created lasting transformation. There's also a lesson in humility. Nature teaches us that we are part of something larger. We are not the sole creators or controllers of outcomes. The seeds, the rain, the sun, and the earth all play their part. But our patient, persevering care sets the stage for blessings to emerge. In this sense, patience is a form of faith. It is trust in the process, trust in life, and trust that our small, dedicated efforts will ultimately bear fruit. Now, reflect for a moment. Where in your life could you practice this kind of patience and perseverance? Is it in cultivating a habit of kindness? In protecting a small corner of nature? In supporting a cause that seems slow to show results? Remember, the results may not be immediate, but the blessings will grow steadily, quietly, and powerfully. Just like the forest, your efforts can become a refuge, a source of joy, and a space of life for countless others. Even more, perseverance in compassionate action has a ripple effect. Those who witness your commitment are inspired, and the energy of your consistent effort spreads. The forest volunteers didn't just create a green space, they created a culture of care, a living example of how dedication and patience can change a community. One person's quiet determination can encourage many to act, and the impact multiplies far beyond what we might anticipate. So, ask yourself today, are you willing to plant seeds of blessing in your life and care for them patiently, even if the results are slow to appear? Are you ready to persist in small acts of goodness, day after day, trusting that your effort will bear fruit in ways you may never fully see? Patience and perseverance are not just virtues, they are the foundation of lasting positive change. Visual close. The forest now thriving, birdsong filling the air, children and adults enjoying the shade, volunteers smiling and reflecting on their years of dedication, a sense of fulfillment radiating from a scene. Narration close. Remember, patience and perseverance transform small, consistent actions into blessings that endure. Every moment you commit to caring, every day you persist in kindness, plants a seed whose impact will grow far beyond your sight. Are you ready to patiently sow seeds of blessing in your own life today? Compassion for all living beings. Visual hook. A lush farmland at sunrise, buzzing with bees and birds flitting among flowering crops. The farmer walks slowly between the rows, carefully inspecting each plant. Narration. Have you ever paused to consider the lives of the smallest beings around you? The birds in the trees, the bees in the garden, the tiny creatures that hum quietly in the air and soil? Their world is fragile, yet intimately connected with ours. And sometimes, showing compassion to these beings requires courage and conscious choice. Consider the story of a farmer in a rural village. He could have easily used chemical pesticides to protect his crops and maximize yield, but he made a different choice. He chose to protect the bees, the birds, and the insects that played a vital role in pollination and ecosystem balance. Yes, it meant his harvest was smaller, and at first, some neighbors questioned his decision. Why risk your income for these tiny creatures? They asked. Is it worth it? But the farmer persisted, guided by a deep sense of compassion. Every morning, he tended his crops with care, ensuring that his actions did no harm. He understood that true abundance is not measured solely by the size of a harvest, but by the health of the land, the community of living beings it sustains, and the harmony created in the process. Over time, the farm thrived in a way that was invisible at first glance. Bees returned in great numbers, birds nested safely, and the soil became richer, healthier, and more resilient. The farm became a living example of the principle that kindness toward all life nurtures enduring blessings. In Buddhism, this teaches us that blessings, or phc bao, are not limited to human life alone. Every act of compassion, every choice to protect or nurture the lives of other beings, generates merit and positive energy that can ripple through the world. By respecting life in all its forms, we contribute to a cycle of harmony that nourishes both nature and ourselves. When we extend our care beyond human concerns, we deepen our awareness of interconnectedness and cultivate a heart that is broad, patient, and tender. Pause for a moment and reflect. How often do we overlook the lives of the creatures sharing our environment? The bees pollinating the flowers in your garden, the birds singing outside your window, even the insects in the soil that keep the earth fertile. Each is part of a delicate web of life. Choosing to act with compassion for them may seem small or inconsequential at first, but it is precisely these choices that build a world of balance and well-being. Every small act of mercy, like refraining from using harmful chemicals or leaving a patch of land wild for wildlife, plants a seed of long-lasting blessing. This story also challenges a common mindset that values only what is profitable or immediately beneficial. True compassion often requires sacrifice, patience, and vision beyond the present moment. The farmer's harvest was smaller, yes, but the farm's vitality, resilience, and the joy it brought to living beings were far greater. And in that, he experienced a deeper satisfaction, a sense of alignment with life itself that cannot be measured in profit or output alone. Now, consider your own daily life. How can you extend compassion to the world around you? Perhaps it's choosing products that protect pollinators, supporting ethical and sustainable practices, or simply being mindful of the impact your actions have on living beings, both seen and unseen. Even small gestures, leaving a bird bath filled with water, planting flowers for pollinators, or avoiding harmful chemicals, can create meaningful change. The cumulative effect of these acts, repeated day after day, generates blessings that far exceed what we might imagine. Compassion for all living beings is not just about ethical choice, it is about awakening our hearts. It teaches patience, humility, and the understanding that every life has value. When we cultivate care for the smallest creatures, we strengthen our own capacity for empathy and kindness toward all. The world becomes a mirror of our inner heart. When we act with compassion outwardly, our own life reflects harmony, joy, and peace. And there is another subtle yet profound lesson here. Our choices inspire others. When people witness acts of genuine care, it awakens their own consciousness. The farmer's dedication may have seemed modest, but it sent ripples into the village and beyond. Neighbors learned to respect pollinators, children grew up observing kindness in action, and a culture of mindfulness toward nature began to take root. Your small choices, too, can inspire and multiply in ways you may never directly see. So, today, ask yourself, how can I treat the world around me with compassion? Which actions can I take, however small, that honor the lives of other beings, protect the earth, and create blessings that endure? Remember, compassion is not measured by scale but by the depth of intention. Every effort matters. Every choice counts. Visual close. The farm in full bloom, birds singing, bees buzzing, sunlight glinting on leaves and flowers. The farmer smiles quietly, watching the thriving life around him, a sense of peace and fulfillment radiating from every corner of the land. Narration close. Compassion for all living beings plants seeds of enduring blessings. Each small act of care, every decision to protect life, creates harmony that flows far beyond what we can see. Today, how will you extend your heart and sow seeds of goodness for the world around you? The choice is yours, and the blessings are waiting. Reducing waste, planting blessings. Visual hook. A cozy kitchen with sunlight streaming through the windows. A family is sorting recyclables, filling jars with bulk goods, and preparing meals with minimal packaging. Narration. Have you ever stopped to notice the sheer amount of waste we create every day? Plastic wrappers, single-use containers, discarded food. It piles up silently, almost invisibly, in our homes, streets, and oceans. Yet, even in the face of this quiet crisis, the power of choice remains with each of us. Small, mindful actions can ripple outward, transforming not only the environment but also our inner lives. Take the story of a family who decided to live more intentionally, embracing minimalism and reducing waste. At first, it was challenging. They had to rethink habits ingrained for years, swapping plastic bags for cloth ones, buying in bulk instead of pre-packaged items, composting food scraps, and refusing single-use plastics whenever possible. Their neighbors and friends were skeptical. "Isn't this inconvenient?" they asked. "Does it really make a difference?" The family persisted, motivated not only by concern for the planet but also by the quiet satisfaction of aligning their choices with their values. Over time, they noticed remarkable changes. The streets around their home were cleaner, their home environment became calmer and more organized, and the simple act of living with less brought a surprising sense of freedom. They no longer felt weighed down by clutter or waste. Every item they brought into their home was intentional, every discarded item carefully considered. And in this, they discovered a profound form of joy, the happiness that arises from living in harmony with the earth. This story reminds us that reducing waste is not just an environmental act, it is a spiritual practice. In Buddhism, the concept of PHC teaches that every action has consequences, and every positive act generates blessings. Choosing to minimize your impact on the earth is a way of planting seeds of goodness. Each time you refuse a plastic bottle, recycle thoughtfully, or compost food scraps, you are participating in a quiet, transformative act of compassion. You are protecting ecosystems, conserving resources, and nurturing the natural world that sustains all life. Think about your own daily routines. How much waste is generated before you even leave the house? How many disposable items pass through your hands without a second thought? It can feel overwhelming, but transformation begins with one small step. Perhaps it's carrying a reusable water bottle, choosing cloth bags for shopping, or setting aside food scraps for compost. These choices may seem minor, yet when practiced consistently, they accumulate into significant impact. And the beauty is that they don't just benefit the environment, they bring peace of mind and a sense of control over your own life. There's also an unexpected gift in reducing waste: clarity. Living with intention, minimizing clutter, and avoiding unnecessary consumption create a mental space for reflection and calm. The family in our story found that their mindfulness about waste extended into other areas of life. Decisions became more deliberate, patience deepened, and gratitude for what they already had increased. In essence, reducing waste became a practice in conscious living, a way to cultivate both environmental responsibility and inner serenity. This practice also highlights the interconnection of all things. When we reduce waste, we are not acting in isolation. Our choices affect local ecosystems, communities, and even distant parts of the world. A single plastic bottle avoided here may reduce pollution in oceans thousands of miles away. Every choice becomes a thread in the larger tapestry of life, illustrating that mindfulness in daily actions is more powerful than it may seem. The blessings we create are not only for ourselves, they ripple outward, touching countless lives and living beings. So, ask yourself today, what small action can I take to reduce my environmental footprint? Could it be refusing plastic straws, composting organic waste, or simply being more conscious about what I consume? Each decision, however small, is a chance to plant a seed of blessing. And as these seeds grow, they not only protect the earth, they nourish your own sense of peace, purpose, and connection to life. Even more, living with less encourages creativity, resourcefulness, and appreciation. When we step away from excess, we begin to see value in what we have, to notice beauty in simplicity, and to cherish the gifts of nature that sustain us daily. The family's journey shows that reducing waste is not a limitation. It is an opening, a doorway to a life that is lighter, more mindful, and more joyful. Visual close. The family enjoying a sunny afternoon in their tidy, clutter-free home, tending a small garden outside, composting scraps, and laughing together. The environment around them feels calm, vibrant, and alive, a reflection of the harmony they have cultivated within. Narration close. Reducing waste is a simple yet profound way to sow blessings. Each conscious choice to consume less, reuse more, and protect the earth creates a ripple of goodness that extends far beyond what we can see. Today, where will you start? What small action can you take to lighten your footprint and plant seeds of blessing for yourself, your community, and the planet? The path is open, and every step matters. Educating and spreading blessings. Visual hook. A bright classroom filled with curious children. Posters about recycling, trees, and wildlife cover the walls. The teacher kneels beside a small group, showing them how to sort recyclables and plant seedlings in tiny pots. Narration. Have you ever noticed how a single act of sharing knowledge can ripple far beyond the moment itself? Education is more than just information. It is the planting of seeds. Seeds that grow into awareness, responsibility, and action. Consider the story of a dedicated teacher in a small town who saw an opportunity to inspire the next generation to care for the environment. She began simply, showing her students how to separate waste for recycling, explaining why trees are vital, and demonstrating how to plant saplings in the schoolyard. At first, the children were curious but unsure. Why do we need to care about this? Some asked. It's just a few trees. It doesn't matter. The teacher smiled and encouraged them to see beyond the immediate, to understand that every thoughtful action contributes to a larger story, one of care, connection, and long-term impact. Slowly, a transformation took place. The children began to notice the plants in their neighborhood, the birds in the trees, the bees buzzing from flower to flower. They started sharing their knowledge with family and friends, turning simple school lessons into daily practices at home and in their communities. From little hands planting seeds in the soil, a movement of compassion and stewardship began to grow. These young students became what the teacher called tiny planters of blessings, carrying forward the seeds of awareness and action into the wider world. This story reminds us of a profound principle. Sharing knowledge and inspiring others is itself a way to sow blessings. In Buddhism, PHC Bao, or merit, is created not only by individual action but also by guiding others to act with awareness, kindness, and care. When one person inspires many, the ripple effect magnifies exponentially. A single student who learns to care for trees may inspire an entire family, that family may inspire a neighborhood, and so on. The blessings grow geometrically, spreading far beyond the initial act of teaching. Think about your own community for a moment. Who has the ability to inspire others, consciously or unconsciously? Teachers, parents, mentors, friends, or even you. Every conversation, every demonstration of care, every act of mindful living is an opportunity to plant seeds of goodness. Sometimes we underestimate the influence we hold. A simple example can ignite curiosity and responsibility in others, creating long-lasting impact. Consider the teacher's approach. She didn't lecture, she guided. She made learning tangible and relevant, showing how small, deliberate actions, like planting a tree or separating a bottle for recycling, translate into a real difference. Her students didn't just memorize facts, they internalized a value system rooted in care for life and the environment. And this is the essence of spreading blessings. It is not about imposing rules or expecting immediate results, but about inspiring curiosity, respect, and a sense of personal responsibility in others. There's also an element of patience here. Just as the seeds the students plant take time to grow into trees, the impact of teaching and inspiring is gradual. A child may not plant their own garden today, but the awareness planted in their heart may blossom years later. By educating with compassion, we invest in the future in a way that goes far beyond the immediate moment. The teacher may never know all the ways her guidance will manifest, but she trusts that the seeds of understanding and care she plants will grow. Imagine if each of us embraced this principle in our daily lives. What if we consciously shared knowledge, not just facts, but the spirit of mindful action and compassion? How many small acts could multiply into a global wave of positive change? Every demonstration of care, every story we share, every lesson we model can inspire others to act thoughtfully and compassionately. In this way, education is not merely instruction. It is the deliberate spreading of blessings, a gift that grows beyond what we can see. Now, reflect for a moment. Who in your life could you inspire today? A colleague, a neighbor, a friend, or even a stranger? What small action could you model that encourages awareness, responsibility, and kindness? Perhaps it's showing how to reduce waste, plant a tree, conserve water, or simply treat living beings with respect. Every effort to teach, guide, or inspire is a seed of blessing, waiting to flourish in ways we may never fully observe. And here's the most beautiful part. The act of inspiring others is itself deeply rewarding. Witnessing the curiosity and engagement of someone you've guided awakens a sense of interconnectedness and joy. The teacher in our story didn't just help the environment. She nurtured hearts, minds, and a culture of care. Her own heart expanded with the awareness that she was part of a living chain of kindness, stretching far beyond the classroom. Visual close. Children enthusiastically planting saplings in the schoolyard, sharing knowledge with family members at home, a community garden flourishing with greenery and life. The teacher stands back, quietly smiling, seeing the fruits of her patient guidance taking root everywhere. Narration close. Sharing knowledge and inspiring others is a powerful way to multiply blessings. Each lesson, each act of guidance, each demonstration of care plants seeds that grow far beyond what we can imagine. Today, who will you inspire? Who in your community can you help awaken to awareness, compassion, and mindful action? Remember, when we teach and lead by example, we don't just change behavior. We plant the seeds of enduring blessings that ripple through generations. Living in harmony with nature. Visual hook. A serene forest clearing at dawn. Birds chirp softly, mist rises over a small stream, and a family tends a vegetable garden surrounded by tall trees and native plants. Narration. Have you ever felt the quiet joy that comes from being fully immersed in nature? The gentle rustle of leaves, the crisp scent of morning air, the sunlight filtering through the branches, it awakens something deep within us. Living close to nature is more than just a lifestyle choice. It is an invitation to reconnect with the rhythm of life and cultivate a sense of mindfulness and gratitude that modern life often obscures. Take the story of a family who decided to move near a forested area, seeking a life in harmony with the natural world. They built their home with care, using sustainable materials, and planted a garden that followed the patterns of the seasons. They grew vegetables and herbs naturally, avoided chemical fertilizers, and minimized pollution. At first, neighbors questioned the practicality of such a life. "Isn't it difficult to live this way?" they asked. "What about convenience and comfort?" But the family persisted, drawn by a vision of health, balance, and peace. Over time, they noticed subtle but profound changes. Their bodies felt stronger, nourished by fresh, homegrown food and cleaner air. Their minds became calmer, their hearts lighter, as they observed the cycles of life unfold in their backyard, from the bees pollinating flowers to the birds nesting in nearby trees. They realized that living in harmony with nature was not a sacrifice but a source of abundance, both physical and spiritual. In Buddhism, this harmony reflects the principle that caring for the natural world is inseparable from caring for ourselves. PHC Bao, or the blessings we cultivate, arise not only from acts of compassion toward other humans but also from mindful interactions with the environment. Every effort to reduce harm, to nurture growth, and to coexist with nature plants seeds of blessing. By living gently on the earth, we nourish our bodies, calm our minds, and cultivate hearts capable of empathy and gratitude. Consider how this philosophy translates into daily life. It is not necessary to live in a forest to practice harmony with nature. Simple acts, like tending a small garden, taking mindful walks in a park, or even observing the changing seasons, can foster connection. Each step taken with awareness strengthens the bond between ourselves and the living world around us. The blessings generated through such actions are subtle but enduring, touching our well-being and the lives of countless other beings. There is also a deeper lesson here. Nature is a mirror for the mind. When we live in harmony with our environment, we learn patience, resilience, and the interconnectedness of all life. A garden teaches us about cycles of growth and decay, care and letting go. A stream reminds us of the flow of time and impermanence. Birds and insects reveal the intricate relationships that sustain life. By attuning ourselves to these lessons, we cultivate mindfulness naturally, without forcing it, and plant blessings in both the external world and our inner world. Reflect for a moment. How often do we allow ourselves to truly notice nature? How often do we pause to listen to the birds, feel the wind, or watch the sunlight dance across leaves? Modern life often pulls us away from these experiences, but every opportunity to reconnect is also an opportunity to sow blessings. When we consciously choose to live in harmony with the natural world, we model respect, awareness, and care, not only for our immediate environment but for future generations. And there is an often overlooked gift: inspiration. By living mindfully alongside nature, we can inspire those around us to do the same. Friends, family, and neighbors may see the peace and vitality that comes from this lifestyle and feel encouraged to make small changes in their own lives. The ripple effect of one family's choice can extend far beyond their immediate home, spreading awareness and mindfulness throughout a community. The blessings of harmonious living, once cultivated, multiply naturally. Now, ask yourself, how can you connect with nature in a way that nourishes your own soul? Could it be through a weekend hike, planting a tree, or simply sitting quietly in a park and observing the world around you? Each mindful interaction with the natural world is a seed of blessing, an act that fosters well-being, presence, and compassion. By aligning our lives with the rhythm of nature, we discover a deeper sense of purpose, calm, and joy. Visual close. The family sitting together in their garden at sunset, children laughing as they water plants, birds returning to the trees, the forest glowing warmly in the fading light. A sense of serenity and balance permeates the scene, reflecting both the harmony of the environment and the inner peace of those living within it. Narration close. Living in harmony with nature is more than responsibility. It is a practice of mindfulness, compassion, and blessing. Every conscious step we take to nurture life, reduce harm, and align with natural rhythms creates ripples of goodness that extend beyond ourselves. Today, how will you connect with the natural world to nourish your body, mind, and heart? The opportunity to sow blessings is all. Lessons and challenges from nature. Visual hook. Dark clouds roll over a village. Wind howls, and rain lashes against rooftops. Trees sway violently, some snapping under the force of the storm. Yet, certain trees, lush and healthy from careful care, stand firm, protecting homes and paths. Narration. Nature is both a teacher and a mirror. It gives freely, sustains life, and yet it challenges us in ways we cannot control. There is a village nestled along a river, where generations have planted and nurtured trees, cared for the land, and maintained harmony with the surrounding environment. One year, a massive storm swept through the region, howling winds, torrential rain, and branches breaking everywhere. It was a frightening sight. Homes were threatened, fields flooded, and debris littered the streets. But there was something remarkable. The areas where the villagers had taken care to plant, water, and protect the trees suffered far less damage. The strong, well-rooted trees acted as shields, breaking the wind and absorbing the rain, sparing homes and paths from destruction. In contrast, neglected areas saw far more devastation. It was a vivid, undeniable demonstration of cause and effect. The care invested in the environment earlier had yielded protection when it was most needed. This story illustrates a profound truth. Every action we take to protect the environment carries value, even if the benefits are not immediately visible. In Buddhism, PHC Bao, or the merit we cultivate, follows a similar pattern. Acts of compassion and mindfulness may seem small, even inconsequential at first, but over time, they accumulate, forming a reservoir of blessings that can sustain us through life storms. By caring for the trees, the soil, and the waterways, the villagers were not just helping the earth, they were investing in resilience, in a future that could withstand challenges beyond their control. Consider how often life tests us, sometimes through literal storms, other times through difficulties in work, relationships, or health. The lessons from nature remind us that preparation, care, and consistent mindful action are never wasted. Just as a sapling grows strong over years of attentive watering and sunlight, our small, conscious efforts in daily life, kindness, integrity, mindful consumption, environmental stewardship, build a foundation that supports us and those around us during difficult times. There's a deeper insight here. Nature doesn't operate on our schedule. A tree planted today may not yield shade for decades. A riverbank reinforced now may prevent flooding years later. Patience, perseverance, and trust in the process are essential. Yet, when we align ourselves with natural rhythms and commit to consistent, caring action, we create protective structures, both tangible and invisible, that carry blessings far into the future. Reflect on the village for a moment. The residents who tended their trees weren't thinking about a storm that might come years later. They were acting from a place of care, responsibility, and mindfulness. And yet, when the challenge arrived, their foresight and devotion bore fruit. How often in our own lives do we act with integrity, patience, and compassion without immediate reward, only to discover later that these actions have safeguarded us, supported others, or created positive consequences we could never have predicted? There's also a powerful lesson about observation and learning from nature itself. Storms, droughts, and floods are harsh teachers, but they reveal the value of resilience, foresight, and care. Every challenge in life can be viewed similarly, as an opportunity to learn, to test the strength of the foundation we've built, and to recognize the merit of consistent, thoughtful action. The village's experience shows that care, when applied consistently over time, compounds in its effects, whether it is protecting the environment, cultivating personal virtues, or nurturing community bonds. Ask yourself, what trees are you planting in your own life? Are they acts of kindness, moments of teaching, mindful choices, or care for the natural world? Even if the immediate benefits are invisible, each thoughtful action adds to a foundation that can sustain you through future challenges. And just as the village's trees provided protection against a literal storm, the habits, values, and blessings we cultivate today serve as a buffer, a shelter, and a source of strength when life tests us. Finally, nature reminds us that blessings and challenges are intertwined. The storm was destructive, yet it revealed the strength of careful stewardship. Life may bring difficulties, yet each thoughtful, compassionate action we take increases resilience, not only for ourselves but for our communities, our environment, and future generations. The merit we cultivate is never lost. It may manifest unexpectedly, often in ways that surprise and sustain us. Visual close. The storm subsides. Sunlight breaks through the clouds. Children and villagers walk among the resilient trees, noticing the shelter they provide. The forest, once threatened, stands as a testament to care, patience, and mindful action. Streams flow steadily, birds return, and the village breathes again, strengthened by its connection to the earth. Narration close. Nature teaches us that every effort to protect and nurture is meaningful. Every mindful, caring action is a seed of blessing, accumulating quietly until it bears fruit in times of need. Today, what lesson can you learn from the world around you? What trees are you planting that will offer shelter, strength, and blessings in the future? The challenges of life are inevitable, but the merit we cultivate through thoughtful action prepares us to face them with resilience, wisdom, and peace. The sunlight of merit. Visual hook. A serene sunrise over a quiet village. Golden light spills over trees, streams, and gardens. Birds sing as dew glistens on leaves. The camera pans slowly over people tending gardens, children planting seeds, and neighbors helping one another. Narration. Have you ever noticed how a sudden streak of sunlight can transform a morning? One moment, the sky is grey and somber. The next, a single ray illuminates everything it touches. It is beautiful, but fleeting. Luck is much like that fleeting light, a brief spark that warms momentarily but quickly passes. True, lasting brightness comes from something deeper, the steady, patient cultivation of blessings, PHC Bow. Unlike luck, PHC Bow is not a chance occurrence. It grows from intention, care, and consistent mindful action. And it is this that allows happiness to endure beyond the moment. Think back to all the stories we've explored throughout this series. From children picking up litter in the park, to families planting trees along riverbanks, to teachers inspiring young minds to care for their environment, each example illustrates a universal truth. Small, deliberate actions accumulate. One act of kindness, one mindful choice, one protective gesture toward nature, it all matters. The cumulative effect is not random. It is the sunlight that rises steadily each day, nurturing growth and resilience in ourselves, our communities, and the world around us. Consider the family who chose to live in harmony with the forest. They did not move to nature seeking instant happiness. They embraced a lifestyle of awareness, patience, and care. Over time, their health improved, their minds found peace, and their hearts expanded with gratitude. Every mindful action, the composting, the gardening, the gentle tending of trees, was an act of sowing blessings. And the beauty of this practice is that it is both outward and inward. It nurtures the earth while cultivating a sense of calm, fulfillment, and purpose within. Similarly, the village that faced the storm learned another profound lesson. Every tree carefully planted and tended reduced the damage, protecting homes and lives. The blessings created by prior care were not abstract, they were tangible, a shield in the face of challenge. Life storms, like the literal storm in the story, are inevitable. Yet when we cultivate PHC Bao through deliberate actions, compassion, mindfulness, stewardship, we build resilience that cannot be destroyed by chance or circumstance. It is worth pausing here to reflect. How often do we rely on luck, wishing for sudden happiness or fortune, instead of consciously cultivating blessings that endure? Luck may smile for a moment, but it is fleeting. PHC Bao, on the other hand, is sunlight, a steady, nourishing presence that grows brighter over time. Every mindful act you perform, helping a neighbor, protecting a tree, educating a child, living harmoniously with nature, is sunlight. Each small contribution adds to the warmth, the energy, the vitality of the world, and your own inner life. The beauty of this principle is its universality. You do not need to be wealthy, powerful, or extraordinary to cultivate PHC Bao. You need only awareness, intention, and action. Plant a tree, recycle thoughtfully, offer compassion to a stranger, teach a child to respect life. These are seeds that grow into sunlight. And the more consistent you are, the brighter and more enduring the light becomes. It nourishes you as much as it nurtures the world around you. Imagine if everyone took just one deliberate action each day to sow blessings. What would the world look like in a year, 5 years, or 10 years? Gardens would flourish, rivers would run cleaner, communities would strengthen, and people would cultivate inner peace. The combined effect of small, mindful choices creates a reality far richer and more vibrant than any fleeting luck could provide. The wisdom is simple. Happiness built on merit is enduring. Happiness built on chance is temporary. Now, think about your own life. Where can you begin to plant sunlight today? It may be as small as picking up a piece of trash, helping a neighbor, showing patience to someone in a difficult moment, or caring for a plant or animal. Each intentional act is a spark, a contribution to the steady, radiant sunlight of PHC Bao. Over time, these acts accumulate, illuminating your life and the lives of others. The key is consistency, presence, and heartfelt intention. As we conclude this series, the final message is clear. May we stop chasing fleeting luck and instead devote ourselves to the steady cultivation of blessings. May every choice we make, every act of kindness, every step toward mindful living be a seed that grows into sunlight. And remember, sunlight is not confined to one day. It continues to shine, warming life in countless ways, sustaining resilience, fostering peace, and nurturing joy. Visual close. Children watering saplings, families enjoying clean streams, neighbors working together to restore a park. The sun rises higher, illuminating everything with warmth and golden light, casting long shadows that stretch across the land. The camera lingers on one young child looking at a small sapling with wonder, then smiling at the viewer. Narration close. Fortune may flash briefly like a lightning bolt, but true happiness shines like the sun, steady, nurturing, and enduring. If you wish for lasting joy, begin sowing PHC Bao every day. Plant seeds of kindness, care, and mindfulness, and watch as they grow, illuminating your life and the world around you. And in our next video, we'll explore practical ways to cultivate these blessings in everyday life, no matter who you are or where you live. How will you begin to sow sunlight today? The opportunity is right in front of you.